to predictability. The milkman, the paperboy, evening TV. Everywhere you look, there's a heart, a hand to hold on to. Everywhere you look, there's a face of somebody who needs you. Everywhere you look, when you're lost out there and you're all alone, life is waiting to carry you home. Everywhere you look, everywhere you look,
Founded over 200 years ago, JP Morgan has positioned itself in over 100 different countries worldwide.
Operating in many different countries as well as many different business segments plays into JP Morgan's diversification strategy.
Morgan's $93.5 billion revenue makes them the largest of their competitors out of all the bulge brackets that are competing in their space.
The large size of JP Morgan gives them a multitude of competitive advantages over their smaller competitors.
JP Morgan is one of the largest U.S. investment banks by total assets and total revenue, amongst others.
In 1973, the United Kingdom decided to join the European Union in order to take advantage of the free movement of labor, free trade, and other economic benefits that a united Europe had to offer. In June of 2016, the UK by a majority vote voted to leave the European Union in what was deemed Brexit. Brexit has implications on financial markets and especially on an investment bank such as JP Morgan.
So now we're going to talk about how Brexit affects the financial market. The first point to note is that the providers of financial services are worried that staying in the UK will risk business ties and operations in the 27 nations that remain in the European Union. Brexit signaled a huge political shift and break between the UK and the rest of the EU, leading to high tensions between the two groups. Keeping operations open in the UK may not only be risky profit-wise for JP Morgan, but it could also be risky when considering our relationships and business operations within countries in the EU, who may have negative or conflicting feelings about the UK at this point in history.
Another logistical point JP Morgan must consider in a post-Brexit UK is that the new political system may give rise to new laws and regulations for financial systems, especially foreign-owned ones such as JP Morgan. The amount of resources that may have to go into applying and acquiring new licenses in order to continue operations may simply be too much to be worth keeping operations going in the UK.
For JP Morgan, operating in London was already an intensely expensive expenditure that was using up a lot of capital and resources. Relocating somewhere cheaper, perhaps a developing nation where there is more market space, could not only cut costs, but also increase profits and allow JP Morgan to find success in smaller, untapped markets.
One of the most important points to take into consideration in JP Morgan's operation in the UK is that Brexit made investors incredibly skeptical about the market. Economic and political uncertainty is always a cause for concern, especially when looking at the stock prices. For banks, this means that they have less confident investors who are not willing to invest their capital in an unstable market. Since investors are a critical resource for banks and an important link in their value chains, this can have detrimental effects on banks and their revenues.
After Brexit, it is uncertain the degree at which trade deals and possibilities will be effected between the UK and EU, making it difficult for any international business to effectively and efficiently operate.
Since banks must follow strict regulations that are set forth by the government, any kind of great political shift, such as what we are seeing with Brexit, opens up the possibility to need reform or changes in legislation. Banks such as JP Morgan may have to restructure their entire business model in order to keep up with these changing regulations. If the resources that would have to go into such a huge change is not already too much to handle, the final reorganized business will also likely not be as efficient as it was previously, leading to almost certain decrease in profits that may better be avoided by simply leaving offices in the UK.
These risk factors are why we must take into account the possibility of moving our operations outside of the UK. For these reasons, we feel it is in the best interest of JP Morgan to begin slowly closing our offices in the UK. This partial strategic renewal effort will directly impact the 16,000 jobs that JP Morgan currently provides in Britain. It is necessary that we slowly begin moving these jobs out of the UK and into other more stable, profitable markets in order to minimize our losses due to the Brexit decision. Instead of closing all offices at once, it will make sense to slowly ease out of the UK so that we can continue receiving whatever small amount of revenue we still can, as we are in the process of moving to other locations and replacing our UK offices with locations that are more stable. Another factor to consider when deciding if we should move out of the UK slowly rather than all at once is that we may see conditions improve at some point, leading to an increase in profits. The impact of Brexit is still to be determined, but we believe that slowly moving our offices out of the UK is the best option to avoid risk and minimize our losses.
With supporting evidence of why we believe that it is in JP Morgan's best interest to move offices out of the UK, we can now go into the details of implementing the strategic initiative using the Parts plus MM model, starting with people. Because JP Morgan's headquarters for its European, Middle Eastern, and African operations, also known as EMEA, are currently located in London, as well as its security headquarters, lots of different departments will be involved in the move, and each of the heads of these departments will need to be present and active in decision making. For example, the operations department as a whole will need to oversee the creation of a new hub for EMEA and the new security headquarters in a location that provides best fit and maximizes use of JP Morgan's value network. In addition, executives from investment banking, market and investor services, treasury services, asset management, and private banking will have to oversee the transitions for their individual operations. These divisions all have offices and branches throughout the UK, and they will individually need to determine which employees will be needed to remain in the UK during the transition and which will need to be relocated to the new hub. The human resources team will also need to be in active cooperation with each of these departments and will assist in overall decision making as well as the entire initiative, which will be overseen by CEO Jamie Dimon.
So the activities of our strategic initiative will be separated into 4 different steps. The first step will be to slowly move out the 16,000 employees out of the UK over the next few years. The CEO of JP Morgan stated that he's going to try to reduce the amount of employees being moved each year to about 4,000 per year. The second step will be to determine if profitability changes, if the post-Brexit conditions are becoming better or worse for the UK offices, and if the value of JP Morgan is either increasing or decreasing. The third step of the strategic initiative will be to examine the shifts in the market and stock prices for JP Morgan. They'll need to check how fast they really should be relocating based off changes in profitability and in market and stock prices. And for the fourth step, they should research other potential locations and areas as new locations for their headquarters that may be more stable or profitable and adding value to their company as a whole.
Currently, London is ranked as the most expensive location to do business in the world. The average cost per person is $112,000. Before Brexit, as well as the rapid increase in technology, it made a lot of sense to pay this costly bill because London was the financial hub of the world. If JP Morgan Chase is proactive and moves locations to an EU member nation like Switzerland or Germany, they would benefit from the increased cost savings as well as more effectively compete against bulge brackets. As mentioned earlier, this is a major move with the relocation of at least 4,000 employees. This could be as large as 16,000 employees, as CEO Jamie Dimon pointed out. In order to relocate these many people, there will be significant investment in a management structure which understands the business culture, business laws, and the labor force available in order to effectively create and train a new workforce in a separate country. The average cost of a manager in the banking industry is $120,215, according to Business Insider, as well as the cost of relocation per an employee, which varies between $20,000 and $100,000, depending on a wide array of factors. However, the cost of each employee operating in London, as mentioned, is $112,000. Add this to the benefits from tax regulations, as well as a more favorable rate, the benefits could create a low-cost, sustainable advantage for JP Morgan Chase.
As far as timing is concerned, we'll begin by terminating or relocating 4,000 UK employees by the end of 2017. This will be a continuous strategic renewal plan as we would continue to terminate or relocate 4,000 employees per year for the next 5 years, as we continue to see the impact that Brexit has on domestic financial markets, global financial markets, and the impact that it has on our company as a whole. We plan to do this on an evolutionary scale so that it has minimal impact on our company and on financial markets as a whole as well. We will continue to research and analyze our stock price and market conditions in the area so we can to clearly understand the stability of the post-Brexit UK financial institutions, and we continue to research to find areas in which we could send our UK employees so they could properly attack European markets now that the UK has left the European Union. As you can see here is our proposed post-Brexit plan. By January 2021, we plan to have 0 jobs in the UK office, and we plan to have a lot of those jobs in a different area in Europe, and we will continue to research to find what best spot in Europe where we could strategically and most effectively attack the European markets. The title for our strategic initiative is Bend, Don't Brexit. This emphasizes our idea that we want to bend but not break our operations in the United Kingdom. We feel like this is a symbol that our employees could rally upon.
Bend, don't Brexit.
Then don't Brexit.
Ben, don't Brexit.
With regards to measurement, we will track profit margins, analyze the stock price of our overall company, look at each individual business segment, especially the ones in the UK, to determine which are struggling the most and where we should most focus our relocation efforts. And once new locations are chosen, we should see which are more profitable after leaving the UK. These measurement procedures are important to have in place so we can determine the effectiveness of our strategic initiative as we go along the process.
After the initial 4,000 jobs are removed from the UK at the end of 2017, we'll analyze our financials regarding JP Morgan's UK sector throughout the next year to determine if another 4,000 jobs should be removed by the end of 2018. This will be repeated in the following years in order to ensure that our strategy fits the external environment. Since new laws and regulations may be introduced in the UK in the wake of the Brexit decision, the urgency of relocation may increase so that we will have to move more than 4,000 jobs outside of the UK per year.
Moving JP Morgan's offices out of the UK should minimize our losses in the UK markets,
Strengthen our ties with the remaining European Union members,
Minimize risk in regards to our assets invested in UK offices.
Encourage JP Morgan to reach new locations that may be more stable and profitable.
Currently, London is ranked as the most expensive location to do business in the laws, labor force. That doesn't even make sense. Why did I write that? I'm sorry. Can we do like? Are we good? Are we filming?
Yep.
Alright, sorry. I'm ready whenever. Currently, London is ranked as the most expensive location to do business in the world.
Are you serious?
The title of our strategic initiative is Bend, Don't Brexit. This emphasizes the idea that we want to bend but not break our operations in the United Kingdom.
What was I supposed to say? Ben, don't Brexit.